the video. I did drop a link in there, but you can also just get to this document from our GEG Ohio website. If you head on over to bit.ly/GEG Ohio, that'll always get you to the GEG Ohio website, which looks like this. On that page, there is a monthly meetings section. If you give a click there, that'll take you to a page where you can see all of our meetings, and there you'll find the key links. So today, here's our October 30th meeting. Here is the agenda link, as well as the live video. And you can, of course, see previous meetings from earlier this year and last year as well, and upcoming meetings. Always do double check those. Sometimes those dates change. Those are the tentative dates we have for those upcoming meetings. But that'll always get you to the website and get you to the resources. This document is an editable document, so you are encouraged to leave feedback in this document. There's a couple of key places that I think that would make a lot of sense. We've got our upcoming events tab, where if you are aware of any conferences or trainings or things like that that people should be aware of, that's a great place to add content. There's also the show and tell section. We have a community show and tell portion there where you can add any really cool stuff you come across recently. If there's a tool you want to share, or a blog post or a video or something like that, that's a great place to put it. And I would also say the Q&A section. That's another good place to add things. If you've got a question for the group, feel free to drop that in there. Or if you have an answer to a question in the group, please feel free to do that as well. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. I see a lot of people saying hi in the chat. Please do that. That is fantastic. Take a moment to introduce yourself, say where you're from. I see we've got California, we've got South Carolina, we've got several Ohio's, Urbana and Hamler, looks like Cincinnati, but we've also got Alabama, Indiana. So thank you so much to everybody who is saying hi in the chat. While you're doing that, I'll do the same thing. Let's go ahead and move to our welcome and introductions. So welcome again to our October meeting of the Google Educator Group of Ohio. And yes, even though this is GEG Ohio, it's really open to anybody who has an interest in using Google tools in education. Thanks for being here. We're happy to have you no matter what state or country you come from. Hi, my name's Eric. I am the host for this meeting today. Sometimes we do have other folks that join us, Stephanie, John, Sarah, Denny, but that's why there's 5 of us, because schedules don't always align. So today, I believe you just got me. I think I'll be flying solo for this one. I work at the Stark County Educational Service Center in North Canton, Ohio. We are in county office that supports about 35 school districts up here in the Northeast Ohio area. So that's what I do, and this is one of the things that I help out with is our monthly Google Educator Group meetings. Again, if you haven't had a chance to introduce yourself, please do that. I've seen a lot more people piping up in the chat. There's Wisconsin, there's New York, we've got Connecticut, fantastic, and some more Ohio folks. So that is great. Next up in the agenda, let's mention the important links tab here. The only one I would really point out at the moment is the sign-in sheet. So we do have a sign-in form here on the important links tab. If you give a click there, that'll take you to a Google form where you can fill in your information and pick today's date for the meeting. And then sometime after the meeting, within the next few weeks, I will run some certificates for those. So you'll get an automated certificate to show that you attended the meeting. Next up, we do have the Groups tab, where I'll give a quick shout out to our GEG Ohio Google group. If you have not joined that yet, that's another great recommendation for you. We have almost 1,700 members in the group. We're getting close to 1,700 members. This is a wonderful way to stay in touch in between the meetings. If you've got a question, a comment, a resource to share, if you need help with something, it's a wonderful way to connect with so many other amazing educators. So if you haven't joined that group, I would encourage you to do that. Next up, we've got our upcoming events. Not a whole lot this time, not a really big list here, but a few that I definitely want to point out to you. We have our We have an upcoming Google event down in Cincinnati. So this one's coming up pretty quick. This is November 12th, and it's just a half day. So it's 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. down in Cincinnati. It's the Google for Education Southwest Ohio Summit. Now, the key thing is, if you're at all interested, you do need to RSVP pretty quick by this Friday. The details and registration are all here. If you follow that link, that'll take you out to that Google form where you can see all the details about that event and can fill that in and get registered for that. I do believe they do have somewhat of a limit as to how many people they can take. So I would say if you are interested, probably register sooner than later to make sure that you do still get in for that. But thanks to Google for helping organize that, and thanks to Cincinnati Public Schools for hosting that. That is fantastic. Really appreciate that. All right, well, let's go ahead and see what else we've got in the upcoming events. Of course, OETC coming up in February. Hopefully folks have that on their radar. That's always a fantastic place to connect with other educators. If you submitted a proposal to present, I understand we should be getting info on that pretty soon. I was chatting with James Freeman at the ITIP Ohio Google Summit just earlier this week, and he said, look for that probably by the end of this week, if not, sometime around then. So if you submitted a session, hopefully you'll be getting an email from them letting you know that your session is accepted and scheduled, and looking forward to seeing a lot of people at that. Not so much of a googly thing so much, but I wanted to go ahead and put it on people's radar just because I want to share this. One of the schools that we support, Green Local, is doing a robotics competition in February, and they're looking for a few schools to partner up with them. So I realize this won't apply to everybody, but if you're in the Northeast Ohio area and you've got an elementary and middle school student group that focuses on robotics, they are looking for some schools to participate in this upcoming robotics competition. So wanted to give a shout out to that. And then lastly, McCall. I know it is not an Ohio conference, but Michigan's not too far away. And this one is in Detroit, so pretty easy to get to. That is coming up in March. So that's another one that may apply to a lot of folks. All right, well, very good. Well, that gets us through all the introductory things. What we're going to do now is really dive into the meat of our meeting, which is what is new in Google. So every month, I try my best to keep my eyes out for anything new that has popped up or gotten shared on the Google blogs or the Google-related blogs, and I add them into our document as we go. Now, you can see there's quite a bunch of updates from the last month. We are not going to go through all of these. The ones that are highlighted, they're bolded. The ones that are bolded, those are the ones that I went ahead and picked thinking, okay, I think these are important enough or interesting enough that it's worth giving a shout out to. Having said that, though, if you have a question about something that I'm skipping over, if there's one of these that you're more interested in, let me know. Drop it in the YouTube chat or add a comment right here in the document. You can just easily come over here and add a comment. That would be fine as well. Or if you have some input on some of these, maybe you've tried out one of these new features and you're excited about it, please share that. I would love to hear from you guys as well throughout this portion. All right, so let's go ahead and dive on into what's new in Google from October. So the very first thing I have on here really isn't quite something that fits this category, but I didn't know where else to put it. So I put it here, our October bonus, the Google Graveyard. So rather than what's new in Google, this is more like what's old in Google, I guess. So since it's Halloween tomorrow, I figured the Google Graveyard might be appropriate to take a moment and look at. And so here's a website called Killed by Google. It's kind of a sad title there. But this is a website that tracks all of the products that Google has created over the years that they've shut down. I mean, that does happen. I mean, sometimes a product just doesn't take off, or, they switch their focus and they don't have the resources to devote to that particular product, or a new version comes out that makes an old version now not be as important. There's a lot of reasons. There's lots of reasons why that might happen. Well, this website lists almost 300 products. So here's my question for you. what do you miss the most? Okay, we're going to talk about some happy things here in a second. We're going to talk about new updates, but what about things that went away? Take a moment, look through the Google graveyard, and let me know, is there something there that you really miss? Which of these Google products are you still the saddest about, as far as it being, sunset or shut down, whatever the case might be? I definitely have quite a few in here that I still really miss a lot. Some more recent, some a while back. But take a moment and look through the list, and if you don't mind, drop in the chat. Drop in the chat what is a tool that has entered the Google graveyard. Okay, I see Matt's mentioning that. Oh, maybe, whoops, let me get Matt's comment there. Sorry about that. There we go. Matt mentioned that Tour Builder hit hard. Matt, I am right there with you. So that you got to go back a little ways to get to. That was at the time when Google shut down a number of map related things. So Tour Builder, Tour Creator, and Expeditions. All of those kind of went at once. And Matt, I am right there with you. I completely agree. A lot of people had invested a lot of money in the Expeditions kits, so that was particularly difficult. But the other things, Tour Builder and Tour Creator, neither one of them required a VR set. Yeah, you could benefit from it, but it wasn't required. Tour Creator, it lets you do these 360 tours, but you could just do it on a computer. And Tour Builder did not require anything like that. It was just, a tour building tool. And yeah, all of those got shut down. And that was really sad, because I did lots of trainings on using Tour Builder, Tour Creator, and I found it to be really engaging there. Curious what other people, Scott's mentioning about Expeditions. And Scott, I know you guys had invested quite a bit into VR, so I know that was something that was definitely frustrating for you guys. All right, see if anybody else mentioning anything. Sam's saying she's going to be upset once we have to get rid of our teacher Chromecast. Yeah, I do know that Google has been phasing out that particular model of the Chromecast. And so, yeah, how long will we be able to use those anymore? Josh mentioning Google Cardboard. Yep, that's another one. I loved Google Cardboard. Drop your phone inside of Google Cardboard and you could have a VR experience. So now, most recently, Jamboard was the one that got the cut. And so the Jamboard tool was officially shut down earlier this month. Heads up, don't forget, I did do a post recently. I don't have it in the agenda this time because it was from last month, but I did do a post recently on Control-Alt-Achieve where I talked about using Google Slides to replace Jamboard. And so back in September, I had a post there about how if you're looking for a replacement, there's a lot of great options out there to replace Jamboard, but Google Slides is one option. And I did create a template that you can use to help ease you into switching from Jamboard to Slides and trying to replicate a lot of that. Well, folks, thanks so much for taking a moment to share some of those. Oh, there's a couple more popping up. John mentioned Google Reader. Hey, John, I am with you. If you don't know Google Reader, that's an RSS aggregator tool. I do use a different RSS aggregator now, but I always thought Google Reader was great for that. And it seems such a shame to shut that down. Joyce has mentioned Talk to Books. Yeah, Talk to Books was another neat one. You basically could use AI to ask a question and the AI would search through hundreds of thousands of books and find answers for you from that. Thomas is also missing Google Reader there. All right. All right. Looks like we have a comment saying that they think they've moved on and they don't see any that they really miss. So, hey, that's a healthy attitude that you've been able to let go. And maybe that's where we need to wrap up the graveyard and move on to the new things. We'll take that as a positive segue to say, yep, just like it's fall and the trees are letting go of their leaves and they're moving forward. Yeah, maybe we need to do the same. So let's move forward now and let's move into the positive stuff. What about all the new things that Google has been announcing? So again, picked out a couple things from October. The first thing I picked was this article here that was talking about some new features coming to Chromebooks. I'm going to go ahead and pop open the article. I'm not going through the whole article. It's a pretty big one. Take a look if you want. It does talk about some new Chromebooks that are coming out that look really promising. And I think that's great. I think that's all fine. What I was more interested in the article was some of the new features that are coming out in Chromebooks. Let me zoom in a bit so I can make that a little easier for you guys to see. Now, a lot of these are coming specifically to Chromebook Plus. If you don't remember, Chromebook Plus is a specific type of Chromebook that just has more horsepower. It's got more memory, more storage, a better processor, better camera, and very affordable. They keep them very affordable compared to what a higher end Chromebook could be. And so, if you are buying new Chromebooks, I really do recommend, if possible, go Chromebook Plus rather than Chromebook. It's really going to help you get a lot more use out of it in the long term. Well, nevertheless, they announced a couple of new features coming to Chromebook Plus. And I do have my Chromebook right next to me here, and I've actually connected to it through remote desktop. So this is my Chromebook connected through remote desktop. So I'll try to demonstrate a couple of these things. One of them is the help me read feature. And so basically what this is you just right click on anything, right click on a PDF, right click on an article, right click on a website, and it will give you a quick pop-up summary. So let me try that. Let me pop over to my Chromebook here. So I've got this article about how does a caterpillar turn into a butterfly? And let's say I was reading this article, but I could use some assistance with it. Well, because I'm on a Chromebook Plus, if I right click anywhere on the article, one of the things that pops up is help me read with a summarize option. Now I can also just ask a question. I can just, ask a question, but if I hit summarize, it's going to read through the article and generate a quick summary here for me. And of course, I can come in here and ask additional questions if I want to go deeper into it and have an AI discussion with this particular article that I'm taking a look at. Now, another cool thing it does is it also helps with just words. So if I were to, find a word I didn't know, like chrysalis, if I were to, so let me try to select it here. I'll do my best. If I select chrysalis, if I right click on that, the help me read is still there, but the help me read also gives me a pronunciation and definition of the specific word that I selected, but then I can also do a full help me read there as well. So I thought that was cool. I thought that was neat to have that as an option. Another cool thing that caught my attention here, I do like this, the live translate. I'm not going to demonstrate that one real quick, but sorry about that. I just clicked and jumped it down there. Let me get back up to where I was there. There we go. Live translate allows you to get AI translated captions on anything, not just Google Meet, Zoom, YouTube, live streams, whatever. So that I think was a really neat feature. I am going to show this next one off though. This is a cool thing, the Recorder app. So this is a new app specifically for Chromebook Plus here that basically lets you just record any audio through your microphone on your Chromebook, and then it creates a transcription for that. If there's multiple speakers, it'll try to figure out who the different people are and label them as such, like person one, person two, that type of thing. And it also will provide an AI generated summary of that content. So what I'm thinking here is, how about a student who wants to record a lecture? So they're listening to a presentation in class, a lecture in class. They can fire up the Recorder app. It will record everything being said. It'll transcribe it, and it'll also create an AI summary of it. So let's pop back over to my Chromebook, and I'll pull up the Recorder app. There it is. And so I had tested this out earlier. I'll try another one here real quick and see if I can create another one real quick. All right, so this is Eric, and I am testing out the new Recorder app for the Chromebook Plus. This is a tool that allows a student, or really anybody, to record what is being said. So I could see a student using this if they were wanting to record a lecture in class. When it's all done recording, what it's going to do is transcribe the entire recording so I can go back through and read everything and jump to the different spots in the recording. But there's also an option to use AI to then summarize all of that and give me a summary of the lecture or the presentation or whatever the information might be. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording and let's see how quickly it's able to process through all of that. Hopefully we will have success. Let's try that out. All right, there we go. And so you can see, oh, it did label a couple things, speaker one and speaker two. So it did think, I guess I must have changed my tone of voice just enough that there's a couple of times it mislabeled me as a different speaker, but that's okay. That's okay. Not too bad. But there we go. I can play all this back if I want. And of course, I can jump to any spot in here to jump to that particular spot in the recording. The summary, I don't know if it's long enough. I know it has to be a decent size thing. Let's see. Will it be enough? I must not have enough words. So I need 150 or more words. I must have come up just a little short, but that's where the AI summary would show up if it were to be long enough. Heads up, this AI summary also works offline. The very first time I went to use this, it had me download a small Gemini model that runs in the background here. So you don't even need an internet connection. It's not going out to the internet. It's using a local Gemini model to do that summary there. So anyway, those I thought were kind of cool. Caught my eye. I thought that would be beneficial. Now there's more to this article. If you want to go further, they've got other things they talk about, other cool, updates and neat things with Chromebooks. But those are a couple that I thought, wow, that's neat. I could really see students benefiting from those. So let's pause for a second. I did see a little bit out of the corner of my eye. I saw a couple of things popping up in the chat. I see Tom mentioned about, do these AI features require a premium subscription? So thanks for asking that, Tom. So for example, with the one I was just showing, like the Recorder app being able to provide an AI summary, the only thing that's required is that the model of the Chromebook is a Chromebook Plus. There is no additional purchase. You don't need, a monthly premium Gemini subscription. It's basically just you get that because you're using Chromebook Plus. So short answer is no. Same thing here, using the Help Me Read. If you're right clicking and having the Chromebook Plus give you a summary, again, no additional charge, no additional subscription. That is just something that they are including in with Chromebook Plus. So that's nice. That is a nice feature of Chromebook Plus to have that in there. All right, good stuff. All right. Well, let's keep on going too. Oh, I did see Joyce had mentioned giving a shout out with Jamboard going away, that Figma and Padlet are good replacements as well. Joyce, that is correct. Thank you so much for mentioning that as well. All right. Well, let's keep on going here. What else caught my attention in the last month? So the next thing up, I wouldn't really call it an update. This is probably more of an article, but it's important. So I figured, hey, let's share it. Google posted this nice article on how to spot scams and what to do if you encounter one. So this is, I don't know about you guys, I don't know how common this is for you, but it's definitely common for us at our location, where people will get phishing scams come through, and many times we'll catch them, but sometimes folks click on something that they shouldn't click on. So this is a really nice article, actually, that goes into pretty good detail about how do you identify phishing emails, what do you do about it, things like that. And it's a lot of stuff that we're probably pretty familiar with, but if folks aren't, it's really good to run through this thing. Yeah, some of the basics, like, watch out, emails from strangers, be cautious if it's an urgent request, stuff like that. I like things like this, like the hover before you click a link suggestion. That's a really good idea. A lot of times there'll be a link in an email, it'll be like, click here, and even the link itself may say that it goes to a certain spot, but when you hover above it and you actually see where the link goes, it doesn't even go to where it's saying it goes to. So things like that, they talk about other things like, having a domain that's very similar, but not exactly the same as what you're looking for, bad grammar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, in addition to all of this, way down at the bottom of the article, they also give a shout out to something that's not new. They've had this around for a long time. Google put out a phishing quiz years ago. And this could be a good one just, for yourself or to share with your staff. It just talks you through some of the most common types of ways that people can try to scam you through email and see how good you are at spotting these phishing attempts. So if that's an issue for you, this might be a good resource to take advantage of. Next up, all right. Next up, experience and learn about culture with the help of AI. All right, let's pop on over to this blog post and see what Google was sharing there. So this is an update to Google Arts and Culture. Now, oh my gosh, we could spend hours talking about Google Arts and Culture. It is such an amazing website resource. It's just fantastic. There's so much great stuff there. Well, this article talks about a couple new things that they've added. I won't go through every one of them, but one fun thing they've added is a new version of their art transfer tool. This is art transfer number 2, where basically what you can do is you can take a picture, either live, just go ahead and snap a picture, or grab a picture from your Google Photos, and then you can convert it into 12 different art styles. So you can say, here's my dog. I want to make my dog look cubist or something like that. You can change the style of an image. And I thought that was cool. That's fun. That could be a neat thing to explore. The thing that caught my attention that I had a lot of fun with is a little further down in the blog post, and that's a new tool called Art Zoom Out. So Art Zoom Out does something called out painting. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, in painting and out painting, but with AI image tools, out painting means you give the AI tool an image, and then the AI tool expands the image and says, what if we could see what was outside of the frame? What might be there? And so basically that's what Art Zoom Out does, is you pick a famous work of art and the AI tries to say, well, if we could peek beyond the edge of the frame, what might it look like? So you can just head on over to the Arts and Culture website. There's a link right there to play the Art Zoom Out. You can just go there. And once you get there, basically what you're going to do is pick a famous painting. Now, if you don't see one that you like in the list there, just click refresh and it'll give you, another dozen paintings. You can keep doing that until you find one that you're particularly interested in. Again, doesn't really matter. I'll just pick, let me try. Oh, I guess I could grab any one of these. It really doesn't matter here. Let's go ahead and we will grab this one right here. We'll take a look. So once I click on this picture, this painting, what it's going to do is it's going to say, what if we had more of the painting than we actually had? What might it look like? So if I click on it, this is the original painting. That's all it was. It was just this little box in the middle. And now all of this around there is what the AI said it might look like if we were to expand it. Now you can click regenerate and just make another version of it. And you can keep doing that over and over and over again until you find one that you like. Of course, you can download any one of these. There we go. So here's a new version of it. And again, I could hit regenerate, try it again. And each time I do that, I'll get a new version. I had played around with American Gothic when I had done this earlier. I actually have a blog post on my blog site where I ran through a bunch of examples of out painting with American Gothic. So again, could be a neat way to introduce this concept, but I think as an art teacher, that would be a really neat project for a student to say, play around with this, but now you pick a famous painting and you do actual out painting yourself. How would you extend out a famous painting? So cool stuff. Thought that one was pretty neat. All right, let's keep on moving. Let's see what's up next here. New document tabs in Google Docs provide a better way to organize your documents. Well, I guess I maybe should have mentioned this earlier, but we've been using document tabs this entire meeting here. So this is a new feature that rolled out here in October, where inside of Google Docs, we now have the option to have tabs inside of a document. So that's basically what we've been doing this entire session. So if you take a look here, this is our normal GEG Ohio document, but I converted it over into document tabs. So on the left-hand side here, you can collapse it and expand it, but you can see that basically we have these tabs. The first tab is the just like the cover page. The next tab is the welcome and introductions. The next tab is the important links. Then we've got the group updates. Then we've got the upcoming events. And so basically what we've got here, it's almost like a spreadsheet. It's almost like, when you're in Google Sheets and you can have like all these different tabs across the bottom and you can just jump from sheet to sheet to sheet, but you stay inside of the same file. That's basically what's happening. It's a document, but you can't like scroll from one page to the next. I mean, you scroll within this section, but when you get to the bottom or the top, that's it. We're all done. We've gotten to that. Now, I can use the buttons on the side here to say, let's jump forward to show and tell, or let's jump back to upcoming events. I do notice if I scroll to the very bottom, it will show me at the bottom what the next one is. So I could click down there to say, okay, I've gotten to the bottom of upcoming events. Let's click there and jump on down to show and tell. So what a neat way to I think bring a little more organization to a document. If it's a small document, probably doesn't make a big deal. But I think it lends itself really well to ours. I mean, this is a big document, and instead of having to scroll forever, it's just so much easier just to just click on that tab, jump right to the spot. This could also be great if you were doing student work and you wanted to have each student have their own tab in a document. Now, keep in mind, of course, they could go to somebody else's tab. They could type on somebody else's tab. Nothing's going to stop somebody from editing somebody else's tab. But just for organization, you could be like, okay, each student gets their own tab, or each group. Hey, group A, group B, group C, group D, you've got your own tab. So we can all work in the same document, but we can keep our content a little bit more organized. So I'm curious what you guys think. Have you tried this out? Is this your first time experiencing these tabs? If so, that's fine. But I'm curious, if you have tried this out, what do you think about it? But also, how might you use it? What are some benefits of being able to take a document and cut it up into tabs like this? Is it something you're going to use? So I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think about that. Feel free to share if you got some ideas on it. So far, I've been pleased with what I've seen with it up to this point. All right. Let's keep on moving. Next up, hey, we got an update to Google Forms. It's been a little while. Google Forms gets love every now and then. Did get a recent update. There is a new kind of question you can ask in Google Forms. There is now a rating question. So if you follow this out to the blog post, you can read all about it, but it's probably easier just to show you. So let's go ahead and let me just create a new Google form. And let's say that this Google form, I want to have this be some sort of a survey. We'll just say it's a rating demo, just so we have a name for it here. And let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see that a little bit better. Let's say I came here and said something like, rate this session. And I wanted to, there we go. And I wanted somebody to give a rating for a particular training or something like that. Well, if I come over here to the side and I look at my drop down options of what I can use for my questions, yeah, I've got the normal short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. There's the new one, the rating option. So what I can do is I can come in here and say, hey, let's pick rating for the kind of question this is. And now you see I can rate this by stars, by hearts, or by thumbs up. I can also decide how many. Is this, is it 3 stars? Is that what I'm picking from? Is it up to 10 stars? How far are we going here? But there you go. I can now create a quiz or a form question that includes a more visual option for rating. Now, when somebody goes and fills that out, they could say, oh, yeah, 5 stars, and then they could submit it. Let's go ahead and submit it a couple times. Let's give a 4 star just so we can see a little difference. Let's submit another one. Let's do a 3 star. You get the idea. So every time I go in to submit here, I can choose the amount of stars. And once that I've got enough of these in, I'm just throwing in a couple more quick ones so we have a little bit of data here so we can see what this looks like. Now, when I come back over here and I look at the responses, there we go. It gives me a bar graph showing how many times people chose each amount, and it gives me an average rating. In this case, a 4.43, and it shows me that on this star rating there. And of course, that'll also show up in Google Sheets. If you do use Google Sheets, it doesn't show up as stars. It just shows up as just numeric. It shows you how many people chose, 5, 4, 3, and so forth in there. So that's nice. A nice, neat way to get some feedback from folks in a more visual manner there. Again, curious if you've used this yet, and if not, how might you use the new rating form option in Google Forms? Cool stuff. All right, let me pause for a second. I did see a couple of things popping up over in the chat. Let's see. Our friends at NeoNet, probably Dan, I assume, says that tabs are nice for note taking. Teach kids how to take notes in an organized way. I like that. Yeah, you could have different tabs for different purposes, or even different tabs for different lessons. Like you could use one document and say, okay, this tab is for Monday, here's from Tuesday's lecture, here's from Wednesday's lecture. So yeah, it can be organized by date, and you just have one document. You just jump to the different spots for the different notes. That's nice. Or maybe each tab is a different section of the notes. I like that. Laura says, I love the tabs for larger documents. It's better than the table of contents. Like that. All right. And Jennifer says, can't wait to use this for help documentation. Ah, yes. A lot of times help docs can get really big. So that is very nice. All right, good stuff. Excellent. Well, let me clean up my tabs in my browser here, just because I'm going to wind up with way too many of these if I don't. So I'll just clean up a couple things here. And let me zoom back out. I think I have zoomed in a bit because I was trying to show off that form. Let's get back out so we can see this a little bit better. All right, let's keep on moving. Just a couple more updates that I selected from this month. Looks like our next one. Oh, this next one was a follow-up to the Recorder app. It just came at a later date. So this I'm curious to learn more about. This is not a post from Google. This is a post from 9 to 5 Google, which is a blog that writes about Google things. They had an interesting article saying they believe that Recorder app I showed off eventually is actually coming to all Chromebooks, not just Chromebook Plus models. Now, if that's the case, I'm even more excited because I really think that Recorder app could be very beneficial. When I went to that blog post, they're indicating that they believe this new Recorder app is going to eventually be available for all Chromebooks. The difference they're saying is the AI summary feature will only be on the Plus models. So getting that quick summary, but the fact that it can record it and transcribe it, that they're claiming is coming to every Chromebook. I don't know though yet. They said it's version 130, and I do have version 130 on a non-Plus Chromebook, and it has not shown up yet. So I'm not sure. So we got to wait a little while and see if that ends up happening. If it does, I think that's great, because I think this would be a benefit for everybody. And I understand if they're doing the AI summary, making that only for the Plus devices. But if every student, if every Chromebook user is able to record with that app, I think that would be nice. So we'll have to wait and see. But that gives me a little bit of optimism that might happen. And then from NeoNet, the comment, I hope they make that Recorder app available on the web for anyone. I agree. I think that would just be a fantastic app for everybody to be able to have that. Good stuff. All right. All right. Good stuff. Let's keep on moving. Let's see what's up next. Gemini, a little Gemini update here. Gemini has upgraded its image generation features to the newest model of their Imagen tool. So explain what's going on here. So Gemini, of course, is Google's chat tool. So if I just go to gemini.google.com, this is Google's AI chat tool, very much like ChatGPT or Copilot or Claude. So this is Google Gemini. Um, well, one of the things Gemini can do besides text chat is Gemini can generate images. I can go to Gemini and I can say something like, create a picture. Oops, if I could, probably doesn't matter if I misspell, it'll figure it out. Create a picture of a cat on a skateboard. All right, so I can put something like that in, and Gemini is going to create it. But look what it says here, creating your image with Imagen 3. So just heads up, this is the newest model they have for text to image. They went from Imagen to Imagen 2 to Imagen 3. So basically the point is really much higher quality images. So as you can see here, that's a pretty good cat on a skateboard. And I didn't give a much of it. I could have put in a way more specific description in the prompt there to control it more. But honestly, that's pretty good. So if you haven't been taking advantage of the text to image feature of Gemini, if you kind of forgot about that, like, oh yeah, I just think of Gemini, I think about chatting and text. I forgot it does images. Well, not only does it do images, but it does them even better now than it has ever before with the new Imagen 3 model that it's using for that. One quick thing, though, just to add on to this, it's not included in that blog post, but Google does still have some limitations on making images of people. So if you do ask for a person, it may say that it's not able to do that. At the moment, if you're using a paid version of Gemini, it will generate people. I believe they have not yet returned the person option to generate people to the free version of Gemini yet. They had some issues with it earlier in the year, so they kind of turned off that part of the tool, and they've been slow to re-enable that. So just heads up, you might not be able to get images of people sometimes, but you can get images of other things with it. All right, so there you go. That's a nice feature. Let's see, what do we have up next? More AI stuff. Okay, NotebookLM. Now, this is not new. I think we talked about this last month, and I think I did a demonstration last month, but NotebookLM got another update. And so we want to revisit this with the newest update that it got. So let's begin with this, just real quick in case you don't know. Let's just pull up NotebookLM so you can see what this is. So NotebookLM is a totally free tool from Google. They've talked about maybe having a paid version down the road with some extra features, but right now it's just free. NotebookLM, anybody can use it. It's just free. And basically what it lets you do is it lets you create a notebook, and a notebook is basically a collection of files. You can add up to 50 files, and each file can have 500,000 words in them. So 50 files times 500,000, so what, 25 million words you could put in there. So it's a very nice place to dump a lot of information. And you can add files of all sorts. You can add PDFs, audio files, docs, slideshows, websites, YouTube videos, all kinds of stuff. Well, the point is, none of that's new. We've had that for a while. So after you upload the files, basically you can have a conversation with the AI about the files that you uploaded. That's not new. We've had that for a while. And then there's also the notebook guide. Again, this is not new. We've had this for a while, but you can come in here and you can say, make me an FAQ based on this. Make me a study guide. Make me a briefing document. And it can generate content based on the files you uploaded. Then this here, I'll go ahead and load this in. This is the thing that was new about a month ago, 2 months ago, and that was the audio overview. So basically the audio overview is where you can have basically a podcast, a simulated podcast generated based on the files that has two people speaking. It's a man and a woman taking turns back and forth just in a casual conversation where basically they mimic a podcast that is discussing the files. Now, again, none of that's new. We've had that. What's new? Okay, so here's the new thing. So let me show you what's new. If I go back over here and I say, hey, let's upload a file. So I'm just going to upload this SEL standards for Ohio. So I'm just uploading that same file. Once that gets uploaded there, notice the new thing. Under audio overview, there's now a customize button. That wasn't the case before. It used to be just generate. You would say, oh, make me a podcast based on this file. Well, now they've added a customize button. If you click that, you can tell it, okay, make me this podcast, but focus on a specific source. Maybe you've got 50 sources here. Hey, focus on this particular one, or focus on this certain chapter, or just look at these 2 or 3. How about focus on a specific topic? Out of all the stuff I've uploaded here, I want you to dig into XYZ. Target a certain audience. Do this podcast, but make it for somebody who's a novice, or make it for somebody who's a teacher, or make it for whatever the case might be. So that's what I did. I did this earlier with this SEL one. Basically, what I told it was, I said, generate this podcast, but focus it on middle school teachers. I said, I want this to be, because this K-12 SEL standards document covers kindergarten through 12th grade. So I said, okay, give me a podcast where you run through this, but you give a focus just on middle school teachers. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit play. We'll not play the whole thing. I'll just give you a clip of it here, but this is what it generated. And we could just let that keep going if we wanted to, but you get the idea. So basically, it is going to be 2 people, a male voice and a female voice, having a deep dive discussion, almost 20 minutes in this case. But I was able to direct the conversation. I was able to say, for this one, let's just focus on middle school teachers. So I love that customization option that is there. Oh, somebody said they couldn't hear it. Oh, no, it didn't come through. Well, that's sad. Hold on. Let me look at my settings here. Um, um, I swear I shared my audio, but let's double check here. I apologize for that, guys. I apologize. Let's do this. Let me do a reshare of my screen. We'll try it one more time. I'll stop the sharing, and then I'll reshare it. Hey, everybody. Let me represent. Let me try this again. So I'll share my screen. Let's go entire screen. Let's find that one. And again, I'm turning on system audio. So I've got system audio turned on. Let's hit share. Let's try it again. I apologize. I'm sorry you guys couldn't hear that. Let's try it again.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into something super relevant today, especially for all you middle school teachers out there. Ohio's K-12.
Now, let me know, did anybody hear that? If not, I apologize if it's not coming through, but I went ahead and played another little clip over there. Oh, you can hear it now. Okay, so I'll let it run for just a bit.
Social and emotional learning standards. Middle school, those years can be a real roller coaster for students.
Oh, tell me about it.
And these standards, well, they offer some really helpful guidance, I think. So we've got the official document straight from the Ohio Department of Education right here with us.
Ready to unpack it?
Yeah, ready to unpack it all, see what insights we can pull out, and how these standards can actually be used in real middle school classrooms.
I'm excited.
So first things first.
All right, I'll go ahead and just pause it there. Okay, so I'm not sure. I might have done something wrong when I initially shared at the start of the meeting. It's possible. But anyway, unsharing and resharing seemed to get the audio back up there. So awesome. So yeah, it is neat. Now, first off, I realize this may not be for everybody. There may be some folks that are like, that just doesn't do it for me. It does for me, though. I can tell you, me personally, I have benefited from NotebookLM generating summaries. I have done this. I have used this on some specific content that I have been reading. I probably at least once a week, I'll upload stuff in there and generate an audio summary. because I don't know, just my brain seems to process it well. I like getting that summary and that conversational manner. So I'm assuming probably some students would as well. Maybe not every student, but there could be some that being able to hear an audio summary of the content that they are reading, whether it's, okay, we're reading, Act One of Hamlet, well, in addition to reading it, what if we had an audio summary of it as well, just, or whatever the case might be. So I think there's a lot of potential here. We definitely need to play around with it and see, but so far I've been pretty impressed with it. I did see a couple of things pop up question-wise related to that. Michelle had asked, can you have only one host, not two? So at the moment, it is very limited. Yes, it is. It is strict in how it is set up. It is two hosts, a male and a female. Here's my guess. I'm sure that's just because, again, this is all experimental. They're just, still figuring this out. I can pretty much guarantee that sooner than later, this customize option is not going to be just two hosts English only. The customize option, I'm sure there's going to be more options to say, I want one host, I want three hosts, or I want to change the voices. Let's let people choose, something other than what appears to be, I would classify as, white voices, be able to pick, some different hosts than the ones they've got right there. Again, this is early days. This is experimental. They're still poking a stick at this, but yeah, I would hope that we will have a lot more customization options as we go deeper into this. All right, good stuff. I did see that Tom mentioned about NotebookLM sources can be URLs as well. That is absolutely correct. When you go to add a file, not only can you upload PDFs and audio and docs and slides and YouTube videos and pasted text, but you can just do websites. You can just put a link in and it will ingest everything from that particular URL and pull that in. So yes, you can add web links as well. Anna said, does it integrate with Google Drive? I guess that depends on what you mean by integrate with Google Drive. If you mean, can you add files? Yeah. If you go to add source, you can add Google Docs and slides right from your drive. If that's what you mean, yes, it does integrate in that sense there. All right. Good stuff. Well, hey, let's keep on moving. I know we spent a little more time on that one, but between the technical difficulty and just the coolness of it, took a little bit more time to process through that. All right, let's go ahead and keep on moving. What's up next? Oh, wow, we're down to like 3 things. This is about it. Okay, so not too many more new things. Let's see. Next up, a new partnership and resources to expand media literacy education for teens. All right, so basically, Google seems like they're constantly creating educational content, materials, lesson plans to help support students, especially in how to use technology. This is not the first time they've done this sort of a thing. I think of things like Be Internet Awesome. That's a really good example of them creating curriculum that helps teach elementary students how to use technology responsibly and so forth. Well, here they go again. This time it's YouTube. YouTube has partnered up with the Pointer Institute MediaWise organization, and they have created a new curriculum called Hit Pause with MediaWise. And so if you head out to that link, Hit Pause with MediaWise, that's where you'll find access to this new curriculum. So basically, I think it's 11 lessons. I think it's 10 or 11. It's 11. Yeah. So it's 11 lessons, and they cover all kinds of things related to digital literacy topics. You can do all 11 lessons, or you can just pick and say, oh, no, I just want to do this one or these two. So it's up to you. You can pick and choose. They're mostly designed to be about 30 to 45 minutes each. And if you come down here to access the material, it takes you actually to a Google Drive folder. Is interesting. That's where it goes. If you click there, it takes you to a Google Drive folder, and there you can get the entire curriculum guide, plus there's folders with all of the lesson materials in there. So that will allow you to access all of that. Now they're shooting for ages 13 to 17 for this. So if that gives you a little bit of a feel, so we're probably talking upper middle school and then throughout high school. And here is all of the content or the lesson plans. And then for each one of those, like I said, any materials that you need, you can access in here where they would have additional resources, slideshows, things like that. So all of it is organized in a Google Drive, basically, folder. That's where you can get to it. But going through this main link that we looked at here, hit pause with MediaWise.com will get you to that page where you can access all of that. So if you're looking for some content to help support your students in using technology appropriately, this could be another good resource to add to your collection. All right. Next up, let's see. Google Photos will label images edited by AI. I'm not going to spend much time on this. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to it, that Google has been pretty vocal saying they are going to, from here on out, if AI creates something, they're going to do some kind of digital watermarking to indicate that AI edited or created images. Google Photos is now doing that. So if you are in Google Photos and you use like the Magic Editor, the Magic Eraser, the Zoom Enhance, if you use any of the AI features in Google Photos to modify an image, it is now going to get additional content attached to it that will reveal, if you go into your details, and it will say something like credit edited with Google AI. Edited using generative AI, or composite of captured elements. And so I appreciate this. I appreciate that Google is trying to lead the charge with this and show that if AI is used to generate something, to modify something, they are going to include metadata into that image that reveals that. The same thing is true with Gemini. Like when I created this cat on a skateboard, if I were to download this image, Google uses a feature called Synth ID to do a digital watermark that we can't see as humans, but the computer algorithms can catch, and it will let them know that it was an AI generated image. So for those people who, understandably, we all do have concerns about fake information online, at least Google, thanks Google, they are stepping up to that and saying if AI does generate something, they will be tagging it. Now, I realize there's a lot of other AI tools out there that don't do that, but hopefully this will put pressure on others. And honestly, hopefully we'll get some laws eventually in place that just clearly say if AI is used to generate something, it needs to be indicated that that was the case. But anyway, thanks to Google for helping out with that. And then the last thing I've got, then let's take a look at your comments, and then we'll move on to show and tell. But the last thing for the what's new in Google is a new course that Google put out. Now, heads up, it's not free. Apologies ahead of time. This is a $49 course, but Google has released a new course on how to create AI prompts. So you can take the first link to head over to the blog and read all about it. And then the second link will take you over to Coursera, or it'll take you to Grow with Google, but it'll take you to there's a link to the Coursera course. And it's I believe about a 9-hour course that teaches you all about how to prompt AI and to make the best prompts possible. Unfortunately, yeah, it does have a cost. If you go here to enroll, I think you'll see the pop-up will say something like, well, I'm not signed in at the moment, but it'll say it's like $49, I believe, for that. Hey, might be beneficial to you. I'm not sure. If so, though, I just wanted to put it on your radar that this course is now available. All right, well, that gets me to the end of what's new in Google. I am going to pop over to Show and Tell, and I am going to pop over to Q&A. So we still have those to look at. Before we say goodbye to what's new in Google, though, let's take another quick look at the chat. Did I miss anything in there? Here's a comment. Linda says, we do not have access to experimental Google items, but a way around is to use NotebookLM on a personal account and then share it back to your school account. Linda, thanks for mentioning that. And I apologize. I probably should always just make that blanket statement. If you are using a school account, it's always possible that your school may have things turned off. That's true. That's just absolutely true. Everything I'm showing you today, pretty much any of these things, your school might have turned off. NotebookLM, yep, that's an example. That could be a tool that your school has not approved, and so you don't have access to it. So yes, you could always, though, pop over to a personal Google account, and yes, you would be able to access NotebookLM on a personal account. And then Tom said that at the moment it is showing up as an additional service in Google Workspace. Yeah, and what I love about that, thanks Tom for mentioning. Yeah, you can micromanage this. You can say, you know what? Let's just turn it on for our teachers. Don't feel that it has to be an all or nothing. Like, well, if we turn on NotebookLM, the kids are going to go wild with it. No. You can go into your admin console and say, we're going to turn it on, but just for this OU, this organizational unit. We're just going to turn it on for our teachers, for example, or even we're going to turn it on for a pilot group of teachers to explore it. So thanks for that comment. All right, I don't see anything else in the chat at the moment. If I missed anything, please forgive me and please add it back in. But let's pop over to Show and Tell. All right, so on Show and Tell, here is where we share cool things that we've come across or created recently. I'm going to share a few of mine. What I would ask you guys to do is please feel free to use the GEG community Show and Tell portion. Looks like we do have a few things that are starting to pop up in there. So I'll give you guys a little bit of time. If you do want to add anything to the community Show and Tell, you still can do that. But let me go ahead and start real quick with just a handful of things that I've shared out from the last month. So a few of the things that I have shared out, one was a recent webinar I did called Did a Robot Write This Report? Managing AI Cheating. So this blog post just got this put up earlier today. So this one is hot off the presses. This is a 50-minute webinar that I did that does a deep dive into cheating with AI. Definitely an important topic. AI is powerful. It can be very positive. It can benefit teachers. It can benefit students. But it can also be misused, and it's going to be it's going to happen. I think I came across a research stat that was saying between 60 and 70% of students admit that they have cheated with AI. So it's definitely a problem. So basically, this video is just a deep dive into a bunch of suggestions for how we can help address this problem. I guarantee you, though, I don't have all the answers. That's not what I'm trying to say here. This is just currently the best I can share. I want to hear from you guys. So please do check out the video, but then write me back. Let me know, what did I leave out? What did I miss? What's another good tool or technique or way to address potential cheating concerns? In addition to the video, I do have the resource document that goes with it. I have the slideshows. You can view them or copy them. And then I also broke out a lot of the resources in the blog post itself as well. But all of that same content is also included in the resource document and in the slideshow. And by the way, I still am doing PD certificates. So if you do want to watch this, you can just watch it on YouTube if you don't want a certificate. If you do want a PD certificate, you can go through my Edpuzzle link. And that way it verifies you actually watched the whole video, and then it can generate a certificate for you there. So feel free to explore that, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. A couple other quick things. What else have I shared in the last month? I did share my Google Docs calendar templates for next school year. I know it seems a little odd, a little early that I would be sharing these, but I only do this because people start emailing me, asking me for them. I always feel it's a little too early, but I guess not. So here's the point. Years ago, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, I created a calendar template that looks kind of like this, where you've got all 12 months on one page, and then you've got spots on the side where you can put in descriptions of key events on the calendar. So it gives you a one-page calendar template that you could easily show an entire school year and important dates and things like that. So I created that years ago, and then every year I make a new version. So, this is now the 25-26 version. And again, honestly, I don't even think about it. And then I just start getting emails. And so I don't know, sometime in late September, I got at least 2, maybe 3 emails coming in saying, "Hey, Eric, where are those templates for next year?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, if you're ready for them." And so that's what I did. So that's the idea. Feel free to come in and grab copies of these. There's a 12, 11, and 10-month version. If you need something different than what's here, let me know. It's pretty easy for me to pop out a different version of them. But basically the idea is, you can color code the dates, and then you can go in and, fill in what each day is. And when it's all said and done, you might have like a key down in the bottom, and then all of these different events color coded on there. Just makes for a nice template there. So hopefully that helps. What else did I share out? Oh, Halloween's almost over, so probably too late to mention this one, but hey, if you need something tomorrow, if you still need an activity, this is a classic post that I've shared before, but it is 4 of my favorite Googly Halloween activities. It includes the Build a Jack-o'-lantern with Google Slides. It includes Rebus Stories with Google Docs. It includes drag and drop poetry with Google Drawings. And it includes a Google Sheets activity that involves Skittles and sorting and counting and doing some data analysis on them. So all of these are somewhat connected to Halloween and this time of year, and those are all free. You can just get the templates and use those however you want. Next up, I did a recording for MoteCon. MoteCon is the annual virtual conference that Mote puts on, Mote being the Chrome extension that lets you record your voice and insert it into documents and things like that. So for MoteCon this year, I did an updated version of this. I've done this presentation before, but a lot has changed. So this is the newest version of it, how to create soundboards in Google Slides. It's a really neat project where basically you can use Mote. You don't have to use Mote, but you can. You can use Mote, or you can use other tools. And basically you can add sounds, recorded sounds, into a Google slideshow and build your own soundboard. And anytime you need it, you can just pull it up and boop, 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 click on the different, little icons, and it will play the sounds. So it can be good for, classroom games. It's also a new thing I tried out was doing it for stories. Let's say you're reading a story to your students and you want sound effects that go along with the story while you're reading it. You can preload sounds into a Google slideshow while you're reading the book. Just click, 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 and you can have all of these sound effects going off. So anyway, this is a pretty quick, I think, half hour or so. Let me see it, 21 minutes, 21-minute video all about how to create Google Slides soundboards. Next up, another recording. I was fortunate enough to take part, in the Back to School AI webinar. This was something that Dan Fitzpatrick hosted. Dan's a great guy. He's definitely a leading voice in AI in education. And Dan hosted a Back to School AI webinar with some awesome folks. I snuck onto the panel. And so you can watch that full 1-hour webinar, or you can just jump to the section where I share some of my favorite AI tips and tricks. So check that out if you want. Let's see what else. Here's another blog post I did recently. This one is on AI tools that provide sources. So another concern when it comes to AI, we talked about cheating earlier. Another concern when it comes to AI is the fact that sometimes AI gets things correct. It gets things incorrect. AI makes mistakes. If you go to ChatGPT, you might ask it a question. It gives you a very confident sounding answer. Sometimes it's wrong. It can make mistakes. So what I did in this blog post was I shared, I think, 4 or 5 tools that can help with that. And so it's things like Gemini's double check feature that can go in and run a fact check on the information that was generated, or tools like Perplexity that can provide citations for the answers, or tools like Consensus or Storm or Elicit, which again, basically they're going to be giving you cited sources that support the answer that was generated. So all of these tools are great ones if you don't want just an answer, but you also want citations that go along with the answers that you can then follow up and explore on your own. So wanted to share that. What's left? Just a couple of quick little things. I did a fun little post, Halloween related, on some of my favorite Google fonts. Google has like over 1,700 free fonts that you can use, and sometimes that's a lot to wade through. So I did go ahead and I pulled out some of my favorites that I thought were somewhat Halloween-ish, either a little bit spooky or kind of candy related, something like that. So things from, Creepster or Butcherman or Henny Penny. And so basically, I think I have a dozen fonts that I think would kind of lend themselves a little bit to Halloween, and pulled those out as examples. And then the last thing I had here, as far as things I have created, was I was fortunate enough to be on the One-to-One podcast recently. So if you're looking for another EdTech podcast, here you go. Here's one more you can explore. So the One-to-One podcast is done by Brian and Linda. They are from Illinois. They are at the Learning Technology Center in Illinois, and they put out this podcast. I got to hang with them and chat about, using technology in school, some of my favorite ed tech tools, student choice and voice. We had just a really good discussion, and they're such nice people. So I would encourage you to check out that episode, but check out the entire podcast. They've got tons of episodes where they've interviewed just so many awesome people. And so that is a great one to check out. All right, so that's all of my news stuff. I did also include a link. This is not something I created. This is just a blog post that Google put up about getting started with NotebookLM. So I just added that in. If you wanted to learn more about NotebookLM than what we saw today, this is a nice blog post that I think covers 8 tips and tricks to getting you started with NotebookLM. All right. Outside of that, although I don't have my co-hosts with me today, I will always give a shout out to them. So Stephanie,
I'm sorry,
whoops.
I'm not able to access the
my Gemini just heard me talking and tried to answer me. So Stephanie has a wonderful Google group that you can join where she shares out great resources, and Sarah has a weekly newsletter that she puts out. So it does look like we've got some stuff in the community show and tell. Let's take a quick look here. Looks like Tom shared a link about AI-powered tutors. Thank you, Tom, for sharing that. I'm going to have to dive deep and take a closer look at that. Thank you very much. I'm always looking for new articles to dig into there. Let's see, what else do we have here? We've got an AI video here on checking student writing for honesty. Thank you. That looks great. I need to look into that. Here's another one, how to write AI acknowledgments. Love that. That's fantastic. Next up, the 5 Ps of a good prompt. Love it, love it, love it. These are really good resources. I appreciate all of these. I'm definitely going to do a dive into each one of those and see what I can pull from those. Next up, somebody asked Gemini to make a Lego version of Washington crossing the Delaware. So if you have a hard time getting people, just ask for Lego versions of people. And there you go. That's pretty good. Next up, NotebookLM can also create the podcast in a different language. Even if your material is in English, you'll want to use this information in the customize section. Ah, that's great. So in that customize section, you can say this episode will be in a certain language. All discussions, interviews, and commentary must be conducted in that language. Ah, that's fantastic. That is nice to know. I wonder how far we can push that. Like, besides language, at what point can we say, I only want one host, or I want the host to be a different ethnicity or something like that. I'm not sure how far we can push it, but at least it sounds like we can request a specific language. So that's good to see. Excellent. Well, folks, that brings us to Q&A, and it looks like we only have one question. So I will address this question, but at this point, I'm going to let you know if you've got questions, comments, thoughts, now's the time. Drop them in the chat, drop them in the Q&A section, add them as comments to the document, because once I'm done with Q&A, basically we're going to take one last pass through the document, see if I missed anything, and then we're going to wrap stuff up. So let's see. The only question we got was actually one that I did answer earlier. It was, can you share links to the meeting videos from last year? And I apologize. I had removed those when we started the new year. Didn't think somebody might, say, hey, Eric, I'd still like to see last year's videos. So basically, yes, I did add those back into the spreadsheet. So if you go to GEG Ohio, the website, and you go to the monthly meetings page on that, you'll now see, in addition to this year's videos, I did put past year on there. So you can access all the recorded videos and all the agenda links from last year there as well. I'll do my best just to leave those in the future. I'll just push stuff down and put the new year on top. That way you can always have access to the previous ones if you want. I didn't think that people might want to see those, so thanks for letting me know that you did want to see that. All right, good stuff. Well, tell you what, let's pause here and let me do another check through the document and our chat to see if we have any other questions or comments here. Let's see. Anna Marie mentions School AI, giving a shout out to them, saying they have a good prompt infographic to use with their spaces, and it's free. So that's great for helping generate good prompts. Can't say enough good things about School AI. School AI is a fantastic tool, definitely one that I recommend for schools to explore. And then Tom says, one of the great things about NotebookLM is that you provide the sources, so the citations are under your control. Hey, I appreciate that, Tom. That is true. That's the nice thing about NotebookLM, is you are focusing on specifically, hey, I want to look at these sources, these PDFs, these websites, and let's pull from those. All right. Well, I don't see anything else in the Q&A here, so I believe we are good to go. All right. Well, folks, as we're wrapping up, I'm just going to say a couple of quick things as we do. Whoops, let me put myself on the side here. There we go. That's a little bit better. There we go. Just a couple of quick things as we do wrap up. First of all, thank you. Just thank you so much for taking an hour and a half out of your day to hang out and share your ideas and learn together. I do want to remind you, if you didn't sign in, remember there's the important links section. There is a sign-in form there that's a very simple Google form that will allow me to send you a certificate of attendance later on for attending this. And if you're watching the recording later, that's okay. You can still fill out the form. You don't have to watch live. If you watch it recorded, you can still fill out the form. I'll still send you that certificate. Next meeting, we are shooting for the end of November. So at the moment, tentatively, November 26th. As always, though, check back. Things come up, things happen. Sometimes things move around. But in the meantime, I would say stay connected. Join our GEG Ohio Google group if you haven't. That's a great way to ask questions and share with people in between our meetings. Other than that, thanks again, everybody, so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and looking forward to learning with you again in between the meetings in the group and at next month's meeting. Take care, everybody.